I asked for you guys' hot takes on Twitter. You guys responded. Bada boom, bada bang. Let's just get into it. 70% of the top 100 can't accurately explain what they do that makes them successful. I have never been able to put into words why I am a good player, and I feel like a lot of people are similar. There are people who can. At least to me, I know I can't. What is this fucking emote? A lot of what you learn in Melee is like intuitive through just like playing the game and building up habits a little bit subconsciously. Like they do know what they're doing, but it's hard to actually explain it because it's so deep in your brain and like subconscious, I guess. Yoshi's is an awful stage for competition and probably should be banned. Randall is awful for the game and basically just exists to rob people of guaranteed edge guards, and the Shy Guys add nothing to the game except randomly fucking things up. So I think there's like some definite whack stuff on Yoshi's for sure. Like the ledges being weird. I think Randall on a timer is like fine, but it is like a bit weird. And the Shy Guys suck, but I feel like we're losing sight of why we all play this like goofy ass cartoon kids game in the first place. It's kind of like with like one of my hot takes. I think that Frozen Stadium is worse than Unfrozen Stadium. I think it's just hype as hell to watch people duke it out on the rock or on the tree. And I think the same can be said for Yoshi's. And I also think Yoshi's isn't as egregious as something like that. The Shy Guys are dumb. I've definitely lost sets to Shy Guys. And I actually, look, this is my opinion. Even with the little things like battlefielding, I think battlefielding, like the edges, they're jank, yes, but it's like a game knowledge thing. And I think having some stuff that's like a game knowledge check is perfectly fine. If you're a top player and you're going for the straight angle on Battlefield that's gonna get battlefielded, I think you're just bad because you should know. The only thing I'd change is the Shy Guys. I think the Shy Guys are actually just stupid. Stream is the root cause of so many issues within our scene. Nintendo, venue, prices, time constraints, etc. Yeah, it is. It's a thing though where like even if it's a root cause, it's necessary. Yeah, it's just if no one would be getting into it. And even the people who go to stuff and go to locals, a lot of them are going and they're watching the streams on the weekend, and that kind of makes them like stick around. You guys remember that Ginger question? What would happen if all the top players quit playing at the same time? Would the game live or would it die? And it's like there will be people who still play the game. Like it's not dead in that sense, but it depends on what dead is in your eyes. I think that even the people who play the game, if they don't have Melee to watch or their favorite player to watch, whatever to watch to keep them like a little bit tied to it when they're not going to stuff, maybe motivate them to go to something, like keep them like invested in the game and the stories in the game, then I think like there will be like a, I don't know, it does a lot of harm. Boxes slash notches slash Z jumpers are not a problem. The people who complain the loudest do not understand how they work or how not broken they are. I disagree with this one, though I will say I don't know exactly how they all work. I think I just don't like the idea of having like mods like this in the first place. The like stock GameCube controller should be the best. Now, I think we're a bit too far gone with notches, but at least like the controller should be the best layout. I just do not feel like that's the case anymore with like some of the stuff that people are able to do on box and with like Z jump and everything. Like I feel like I'm at a disadvantage because I'm playing on this. I'm not the guy who's like making the rules. That's just my opinion. Doubles does not get support because it is not feasibly accessible for lower level players. It only still exists as a formality and because there are no other built-in better game modes. I agree and disagree, just in the sense of I don't think that's like the only reason it's not getting support, I guess. I think it's definitely not feasibly accessible for lower level. I guess it depends on what you mean by support. I don't think it's the only reason it doesn't get support, unless you're talking about like viewership support. But I think in terms of like entrance and stuff, like it's just degenerate. It's random for bad players. I think there's still a lot of randomness in high level dubs. You know who I hated playing doubles? Fucking SFAT. Because everyone's like, oh, he's so good. You know what he did? He spammed Light Shield and he spammed fucking jumping around the platforms. And I'm just like, yeah, he's good, but this isn't fun. If the top players had static teammates and storylines could be built like back in the day with like UGS and PewFat and all of those different teams, it would help a lot. In a tier list of characters which allows players to skip learning parts of the game, Marth slash Puff reign supreme over the rest of the cast. I think like probably, I think Peach in there, maybe Sheik, just because Sheik's like tilts. You can actually just walk around and hit A and it's hard to deal with sometimes. The thing with Marth, I think, is he's like obviously a higher level, it's a bit different, but you can get away with kind of playing like very point and click. Like you see where they are and you swing your sword and it kind of just makes a lot of sense. I think with Puff, in terms of her tech skill, yeah, but I do think Puff actually has some stuff that people don't give credit to that's hard to learn. She does not play the same melee as everybody else. You don't dash dance with Puff and you do all this air stuff. I think it's harder to actually learn because there's less resources to teach you how to do all that kind of thing. Other than that, she definitely has like good, like easy tech skill and everything. So I think, I feel like I'd probably agree with this. The timer should be 4 minutes. Timeouts are hype and should happen more often if people are playing so defensively. No. I think timeouts are hype sometimes. A close timeout. Not if like it's a puff 3 stocking and ice climbers. Also 4 minutes. Yeah, like I have like Fox Dittos sometimes that go to like close to 4 minutes. It's too short for a game like Melee, and I think it would stop being hype. I feel like if they were happening all the time, like if it was a 4-minute timer, Foxes and stuff would be timing out all the time, which I think is not what you want. You don't want the fastest character to be timing out. I think the smallest it should be is 6 minutes or 7 minutes. The community was more enjoyable to be a part of before net play, like way more. I feel like most people would agree, but I don't even think it's just net play. I think it's just like online in general. People are a lot more toxic online. You don't have a face attached to you for a couple years. You start to play very degenerate and lame because you just want the win. The meta has definitely gotten more defensive, and some of it's probably because it's a shame, and it's less of like a community feel than it used to be. Back in the day, people were like driving up to tournaments and crashing on someone's basement floor with like 30 people around them. There's been a big culture shift since things have been more online, I guess. Kind of like what Mang0 says, where I think a lot of the community has gotten like kind of soft as well in some ways with like banter and that kind of stuff. But I think there's some positives. Now when I hang out with my friends, I don't feel the need to just play Melee with them. I can play Melee before I hang out with my friends and then go to the bar with them and have fun and do anything that isn't just grinding. Whereas before, it's like, okay, well, this needs to be my grind time because I can't play online. Flaming someone for their character is cringe, but flaming someone for their gameplay is fine. The lamest players on earth will do everything they can to make this a false equivalence. Yeah, to a degree. I do think there are a lot of times where like if you criticize a character or you say something like, oh, this character's fucking has this bullshit thing, or this character has this lame thing, people get really, really, really mad. And I think there are some objective things that you can just say about characters that are like sometimes a bit negative, but people take it too far. That said, obviously like treating somebody bad because of their character is cringe. Like, I don't know, I've seen it even in my local scene. I've seen people be assholes to like the Puff player or the Yoshi player or something, and it's just like, you could just not do that. You could just like treat everybody like a human being. It's valid. Everyone has the characters they hate. You don't have to like take it out on their like person. That said, if someone plays lame as hell, then yeah, I agree. It's not the character that makes people play super lame. There are some whack stuff about certain characters, but at the end of the day, it's the person behind them that makes them lame a lot of the time. Who is like a historically lame player? UK, no, that's not me. Mewtwo King, Marth versus Ossify Marth. Same character. One of them's considered a lot more lame than the other, and I think it's like a player thing. Double Fox is overrated, nowhere close to bannable, and it's potentially not even the best team if 20 years of results point to anything. I actually agree. I actually think the thing that people don't talk about with Double Fox, yes, in theory, they are the best team because they can cover everything, but do you know how hard it is to actually coordinate that? Because if both people go for the edge guard, both people go for the combo or whatever, like you have to have it split to a T, which player is doing what, and you have to have it actually broken down. And I don't think that any duo has ever broken it down to the point where I think they are like, it's like a busted team comp, because it might even be an unattainable thing to do. Yes, the classic Fox is so good he's bad actually. No, but that makes sense in doubles, does it not? Let's say Peach Sheik. You know what your job is the Sheik. You know what your job is the Peach. You guys aren't really gonna get it mixed up, but if you're Double Fox, you're both gonna try to do the Fox stuff, and sometimes it's gonna go wrong, and you also take a lot of damage if it does go wrong. People act like it's like a game-breaking team, and I just don't think so. I'm saying this, I don't even play doubles anymore. Fox wins every matchup 6-4 minimum, yes, including Falco and Marth. I don't think I'd agree with that. Falco and Marth, there's so much room for like error that you can get like clapped. Do I think there's a world where Fox does win every matchup? Yes. In my opinion, I think Marth is the one matchup he loses, but I think it's less than it used to be because I think Cody's brought it far. Boxes are not nearly as broken as everyone makes them out to be. If you lose to a box player, you would have lost to them if they played on GameCube controller. That is bullshit. No, that's not true. Like to just say that like every single time it's just gonna be like, no, you would have lost anyway. Like I think that's like a good competitive mindset to have, but I don't know if it's something that I would like say is definitely true, because I think the consistency goes a long way. The fact that there's people who've been playing the game for like 2 years and they have like better tech skill than me on like the box, I'm like, that's pretty absurd. And it's like consistent too, because they're hitting like buttons instead of like having to rely on the control stick and some analog stuff. Not to like discredit them, because obviously they're doing like good stuff too, and I know a lot of people would not want to hear that, but that's my my honest truth. Reuploading broadcasts isn't inherently bad and probably grows the scene. I feel like this is based, actually. It's like how with GR Smash and stuff, all of those compilations, though the one thing is it does suck if the TOs are getting their shit like actually stolen. Like, there's some pros and cons, I guess, because the pros are it does help grow the scene. People are gonna see it more, but also specifically for like that specific tournament, you might be losing out on some money. Maybe not a ton, because YouTube views usually aren't like a ton. It's like that like Smash Fusion channel or whatever it is. It is Smash Fusion. I don't want to like call out some random dude. For the scene, this is better, like the whole scene as an entirety, but for that individual TO, they are losing out on money. It's hard being a Peach mains because we are objectively the hottest character mains, the coolest people, eat at the freshest restaurants, hang out with the hottest guys, and have the most sex. All I'm gonna say is Asuka's my friend. I just hung out with him recently. Okay, that's case closed. Young Sheldon is not as good as you constantly make it out to be. I know he's your favorite character, but the show would be 10 times better if Sheldon was taken out. Georgie, Mandy, and Mima are the only characters with depth in their subplot character. Mang0 will never catch up to Cody or Zayn. I don't think it's true. I think it's a thing where if there's any of the old school players who's gonna do it, it's Mang0. He has done it before. Right, coming back from COVID, he got ranked like number 10 or whatever it was, and then he ended the year at 3rd. Like, is it harder now? Probably. Right now, the competition, we are a bunch of sweaty ass motherfuckers. I think that competing with sweaty fucks in the skills that it takes to become a sweaty fuck are not the skills that you learned back in the day when Mang0 was starting to get good. But he's already been around for how long? Like 2 decades now. I do think it's harder now, but I would not say never, because I think he's shown that he can keep up in every era that he's played. Solo Falco will probably never make top 5 again. The thing is, it's just right now is hard. I think for it to happen, either Mang0 has to go all Falco and like do well, or a lot of people have to retire. Let's say everybody is playing, including Plup, Leffen, and Wizzy. You realize that means our number 10 is going to be Leffen or Wizzy or somebody. That is so insanely hard to break into. There's not going to be a new Falco that's at that level, at least for a long time. So tier lists and how they are perceived are stupid. People think that a character being 2 spots above another means way more than it actually does. As a result, players shy away from playing characters that would suit them better, making them have worse results in the long run. Yes, I agree. Yeah, you should just play the character you think is the most fun, and then you will thus end up getting best with that character. Because even if you're playing a character that's a bit worse, if you're having fun, then you're going to be more motivated to actually grind. That, at least in the long run, is going to be more beneficial than playing like a better character. You're going to just have the motivation to do it all. At the end of the day, it's like a video game, and everyone has different goals. And like, even if your goal is to be like the best, you don't have to play Fox or Marth. You can play a character that's a bit worse and still try to make it work. Melee's the least fun Smash game to play with friends who are not competitive players, would rather play alt with a casual friend. Yeah, I feel like that makes sense, especially if you're like into doing competitive stuff. It just wouldn't be fun. You know what my hot take is? I think Super Smash Bros. Brawl is the best casual Smash game. Yeah, I think Brawl and PM are the best. I think PM is my actual answer. I think PM is the best casual Smash game because the items are the best, like assist trophies and Pokemon, and the items are just the best. There's like the stage creator, and then in PM, you wanna know why PM? There's just some random stuff that combos. Like when you're a scrub and you don't know how to do anything, you can still play Lucas and just dash attack fair. I think as like a casual, PM's the best Smash game. That's my hot take. Z-Jump is a massive scapegoat right now, and if Cody wasn't currently the best player in the world, nobody would care. Talking to other players, people thought Z-Jump is dumb. People think like some box stuff is dumb, and it's just like a thing that players have thought for years, I guess. It's just now it's in everyone's face because Cody's the best, and I think people feel more comfortable saying it because online you get a lot of shit if you have like those opinions, and I think it's just recently people have been like more vocal about it. And why have they been more vocal? Because Cody's number 1. A lot of the complaints people have had about box, people are like, yeah, well, no one's actually good on it, but then the second someone gets good on it and people complain, it's gonna be this like exact thing where people are like, well, you're just complaining that it's good. And I think no matter what, people are gonna say either thing to discredit like the arguments being made a little bit. But I agree, I think you should just say it beforehand. It would be a lot better to say it beforehand and advocating against. I think the stage list being Battlefield, Yoshi's, and FOD would make the game 10 times more enjoyable for the majority of players and solve a lot of low/mid-level frustrations with the game. I don't agree at all. I think less variety makes people way more bored. Like, I don't know, especially because it's like saying like low and mid-level frustrations. I think this would solve some high-level frustrations. A lot of high-level players hate FD, but I think like low-level, probably not. But I also think at both levels, we want variety. I'm not gonna lie, one of the reasons I don't care at all when SmashCon is going on, I don't watch Smash 64 at all. And I'm gonna be honest, no disrespect to them, I think it's sick that they've been playing this game for so long, I don't give a shit. I just watch. It's the same fucking level every fucking time, and it just feels like the exact same thing is happening every time. And I just get bored of it. And no disrespect to them. I'm glad they love their game. I'm glad they're keeping it alive. I think it's sick that there's like such a deep meta. It just gets so boring seeing like just one stage constantly. A lot of people like have advocated to get FD banned because there is some like stupid stuff on it, but I think it's cool that it's just a different kind of level and it's a complete different game plan you have to abide by, and it changes the game, because isn't that what you want a counterpick to be? You want to force people into some situations that they don't like. I'm not a fan of the takes, or I guess I just don't agree with the takes where it's like trying to simplify the game more, because I think it ends up just ripping a lot of the personality out of the game. Do I enjoy, look, don't get me wrong, I see Skullbro in chat, do I enjoy getting chain grabbed by Dr. Mario on FD? Fuck no. But do I think you should have the option to do that? Yeah. Yeah, I do. I think it's a perfectly fair option. I don't know. I think having the variety is good, even if for some matchups it is like a bit more on fun or something. I think it's just good to have. I'm going to murder. I'm just gonna give this a like. What was 2015, 2016 again? Was that Armada? I don't think this is a hot take. I feel like most people kind of agree with this. It was like 2014 to 2016 was like the best, right? Like that was like just when it was like at its peak in terms of like excitement and stories and everything. You guys want to know my hot take? Is I think the 2017, 2018, 2019 era where HBox was #1. I think that people hate on it too much. I think people hated on HBox Armada Grands way too much. We're like, oh, we just get the same Grands every time. You know how sick it was watching leading up to top 8 and being like, oh my god, is Armada gonna lose this time? Oh my god, is HBox gonna lose this time? The best player in the world? And then they get to Grands and like, I don't know, I liked it. I think people are overreacting with it though. The competitive grind is all about self-praise, which is not something anyone should be celebrating. Top players know that if it was for money, we'd just do something else. It's nothing but pride on the line. I don't agree. Having a competitive outlet for a lot of people is very important. There's a lot more reason to compete than for money. You learn a lot about yourself. You work on a lot of skills that you're able to use in other aspects of life. Yeah, I just kind of overall disagree with this. A very large majority of players don't even have fun with the game itself anymore and are just stuck with Melee because it's a competitive outlet they've committed so much time to. I think that's actually depressingly a bit true. There's a lot of people who are very invested in this game because a lot of their friends play this game and they've put however much time, like a lot of people even like a decade, and they don't necessarily enjoy it as much as they used to, but it is all they know, you know? It's just kind of all they know because in their formative years, they were watching the game and going to tournaments, and like, that's just kind of what they have been doing for the last however many years, and it's just like hard to break out and change that. If you get into Melee, a lot of the time it's like your life. Sleeping on floors surrounded by 30 people, staying up all night playing Melee, going to Smash Fests, doing all of this stuff for Melee, and it's just a very like people's friends. People have entire friend groups. Like their only friends are from Melee. Hobby is Melee. Friends are from Melee. Every single aspect of a lot of people's lives. Like there are a lot of people who like don't have fun with the game itself anymore and just kind of like stick around with it. 90% of regional/majors will never hit their 10th iteration, and nobody really thinks about that, let alone is concerned by it, let alone actually tries to do something about it. I think people do think about that. Maybe not with those words. People do have this understanding that tournaments can't go on forever. So the thing with this one is I agree. I think it's a concerning thing. And in terms of like, let alone actually tries to do something about it, like, I don't really know what there is to do. Taking the reins from the TOs when they retire and you can like host their tournament and keep it going. Like, I really don't know what like the solution would be or what people would do, I guess. Like if we lose Big House and Genesis, that is so fucking bad for us. Especially after losing Summit and stuff. Same with like Gommel and all that stuff. It's like a big blow to lose it because you lose the name value, and the name value does add a lot. But even if Genesis just hosted a stinker, you know what? Because it's fucking Genesis, next year it's still gonna be in the thousands for entrance. No one's gonna give a fuck because it's fucking Genesis. And that's just how it works. So it is a concerning thing. The lean towards coaching and informational Melee content has stunted many newer players from engaging with the personal expression side of the game. I mean, I remember I said this once when I was salty and I was just getting reversals because people were just spamming slide off and shit, and I said, dude, why the fuck would you play the most beautiful and expressive game just to do this? You just decide to fucking crouch cancel the whole time. I said something like that when I was pissed, but I think there's a little bit of like a tidbit of truth there. When you play like an unranked Fox, a lot of the time you're like, this is just like the same fucking player I just played. I think a lot of people are fed like a certain way to play and they think that's the only way to play. And I think like furthermore, I've always been a big proponent of like every single person has a different different skill set and they learn in different ways, different base stats than everybody else. Okay, I'll word it in a gamery way so you guys understand. And I think just like leaning into that, like I am not the best when I'm like studying, but I can apply stuff really well and I am good at figuring stuff out and feeling stuff out. So it was very beneficial for me just to like sit down and play the game. Whereas for some people it would be more beneficial to study. Some people it is beneficial to like look at frame data and stuff. Knowing what your strengths are and playing into that is important. And I think a lot of the time people don't do that because they will see someone talk about the game like a drugged fox or someone who is like a coach and is smart, and they think that they have to view it similarly or try to go about things in like the same way. Use your secondary characters in bracket. Players over rely on their mains when it's much easier to beat your opponent by playing characters they don't like / aren't prepared for. I both agree and disagree because I think in terms of like getting better at the game, like you're gonna be more prepared with your main, and long term it is a better way to get better faster, I guess. Like it's like a faster way to improve by just playing your one character and focusing on that. There are times where you're playing somebody, like an example I'll say is like Zamu. She is really good at the Ditto, and I feel like I genuinely would have an easier time beating Zamu with a different character than Fox. Like this might actually apply where I'm like, you know, maybe I do just against that one person, it would actually just be more beneficial if I was like, you know what, fuck this, I'm not playing Fox, I'm gonna play Sheik, or I'm gonna play Falco, or I'm gonna play another character and just do it. But it depends on what you're striving for. It's kind of true if you are just aiming to win in the moment, but if you're trying to improve, then it ultimately will be best to play the character you're trying to improve with. What's your hot take, Moky? I mean, someone asked me this yesterday and I did have an answer. My hot take, I think a lot of our top players are way too short-sighted. People were talking about how they don't want to enter online because you don't get anything out of it because it's not for rankings. I think it's a kind of short-sighted take to have because like the long term entering online tournaments would have been good because your numbers will get inflated and you can push those numbers to sponsors, and then you're gonna make more money from like subs, and then the community's gonna be like healthier because there are gonna be these like weekly tournaments where everyone's playing each other, and it'll be on your stream that inflates your numbers and like all of that kind of stuff. Like another example is that people are too scared to like give their opinions. I think a lot of the reasoning is because you will get a bunch of shit, and short term like that sucks that you get a bunch of shit for that stuff, but I think long term it's good and it makes the scene healthier. That's my take. All right, this is Fraser's take. Unfortunately, no matter what it is, I haven't read it yet, I am gonna have to agree with him so he edits this video, so bear with me. No matter what it is, I agree.